Good morning and welcome to episode 4 of the Unbreakable Journey. My name is Alex Johnson and I am your podcast person of the day. While I've been walking down to sort of where I normally do these videos, just trying to sort of think about what it is I kind of want to talk about today. And I think what I'm honing in on a little bit is managerial tactics, managerial development. It's something that I've spotted across my career that certain places, when you become a manager, there doesn't seem to be any further training. You know, once you're line manager becomes sort of a regional level and they're not always with you, the development really slows down and you're just kind of left to your own devices. So if you're not already a good manager, sometimes I feel it can be quite hard to become a good manager. Obviously though, you know, you're not going to necessarily be put into a role where you're bad at to begin with. So you will have had to have shown some capacity as a good manager. But yeah, it's the approach that some people take, and there's a lot of it that I take into my kind of day-to-day life, how I work with the people that I manage, how I manage them, how I upskill them, and how I can sort of translate that sometimes into real world examples, real world stuff. And one thing I see a lot of the time is managers jump to conclusions straight away, and this happens in real life as well. Like the amount of times my other half has just jumped to a conclusion because she's seen something and thought, oh, he's done this or he hasn't done this. Well, I'm sure we all get it. And I say that with humour intended. So one of the most important questions to ask, and I'm going to relate this to a lot of stuff, is why? So say you're working, one of your staff members has done something, it could possibly lead to them getting into trouble or something, okay? The first question you've got to ask them is why? Why has that happened? Talk me through what happened, because you need to be able to understand the intent behind the action to help you understand the person better. And that's where I think there's a big shortfall in leadership roles nowadays, is that there's too many people who just see the black and white of a situation. They just see the numbers or how it's affecting something in particular. They don't take a step back and really evaluate the situation and hone in on what could be a learnable, teachable moment. So it's that why that really digs deep, and this is something that me and my personal training partner did when we had our business. Is that when we were trying to establish a goal for someone, we would just simply start off with, what's your goal? And they would tell us, and then it's the further questioning that really delved deep. It was so why is it important that you hit that goal? How would that make you feel if you didn't hit that goal? Why is it important to you? And the idea behind this is that you end up getting a emotional connection. You're getting to the belief and the emotion behind action. And suddenly you're not training someone to lose 10 pounds. You're training someone because they have low self-esteem and body confidence. And then suddenly you're on a much different journey working with them in order to really progress them. You know, you're not just looking at something simple anymore, you're looking at something far more complex, and you're able to implement things that will impact them on a much larger scale. And this is, in my opinion, a key component of being a good manager. You know, so when you're developing someone, it's like, why do you want to be developed in this area? What's your end goal? Why is that important to you? And all these questions, when you get the answers to them, you have a much deeper understanding of the person, for one. You've connected with them, number two. So they're more likely to come to you for help. They're more likely to respect your opinion because you've listened to them. The other thing, and I'm sort of just talking about listening, is the amount of times I've been part of meetings where they've lasted over an hour and it's just been top dog talking for an hour. We need to do this, we need to do that, you need to do this, you need to do that, do this by then, do this by then. And then I've seen it done the complete opposite way, where you have sort of the leader pose the question. It's like, right, we need to improve X, thoughts and ideas, and then they just sit back and listen. They listen to everyone's ideas and they talk it out, and they might even like talk out an idea and realize there's a bad element to it, so they'll work on it. And it's an open forum, an open conversation in order to hit this mutual goal that the leader has set. And it's the communication skills, I feel, that some managers lack. Now obviously I'm talking from personal experience. You know, when I took over one of my teams from a different manager, one of the first things I did was I sent them all an individual voicemail message, just sort of saying, hey, how are you? You don't have to reply, don't worry. If you want to, cool. If you want to do a voice note, cool. But what I would like to see from you is 3 ideas of how we could improve your role, and 3 things you want to accomplish outside of the business. That was the first thing I did with them. And I had people coming back to me with so many ideas. A lot we started implementing, and it really improved morale. Like, I went into this as wanting to create the team feel, and that all voices were heard, that they understood where I was coming from, I understood where they were coming from, and it worked. We were so cohesive, it was amazing. And then they were telling me all about what they're doing outside of work and the sort of goals that they want to achieve outside of work. Now this was a young team, you know, a team that you wouldn't expect to be in the job that they're in forever. You know, they've got further higher aspirations, and I never wanted to feel like I was bogging them down into the position that they were in. I wanted them to succeed. So some of them I worked on lots of different things with them, and our one-to-ones were tailored to pretty much what they had messaged me about, the 3 things we could improve and 3 things you want to achieve outside of the club. And it culminated in, you know, helping one set up their own business outside of work, helping one of them build up confidence in delivering classes because they wanted to be a class instructor, things like that. And it just blossomed into such a nice relationship with them. And like, the other thing I did as well was I always booked in one-to-ones every month, but the deal was this is your one-to-one. I will never cancel it. But if you need to, that's absolutely fine. There's no obligation to come to the one-to-ones. It's on your time, so it's up to you. If you've got stuff you want to talk about, come on down. My diary's free, you're in there. I will be there. But it's completely up to you. And that freedom, I had a lot of people come into one-to-ones because they felt that it was their opportunity to be heard, listened to work on something outside of work with someone who genuinely actually had ideas and cared and everything like that. And again, real nice relationship. And this is kind of what I want to do. I think that's the overarching bit of this video, is I want to help others. I love helping others and see success in others, and it's trying to hone in on how to do that most effectively. Obviously, in my current situation, there are factors at play here that I have to consider and I can't ignore. So I thought about streaming and doing, not streaming games, just streaming like a live podcast, Q&As, chatting, talking about mental health, overcoming barriers, motivation, that sort of thing, and try and make it almost like a positive stream, a positivity stream. For those who need a bit of a rise up, boom, you can come in and you'll get it. But then the overarching element is the issue of financials. How do I make money off of that? And that's what I've been sort of tug of warring over, because just doing that, the only way I would make money would be off of social media content and likes and stuff like that. And it's, one, very hard to become successful in that, and two, it would take a long time, and I need to try and find something that offers a solution sooner rather than later. So then the other option number two, would be to develop a product that I can sell, that I can advertise on my streams, in my social media, and sell it. Now, going down the route of what I'm talking about here, motivation, entrepreneurship, bettering yourself, that sort of stuff, you're talking down the lines of almost life coaching, possibly personal training, business mentorship. And this is the I can scenario for me today, is I can't see how I could produce something that people would want to buy. Factors and barriers being time. To produce something that someone might want to buy is going to take time, effort, potentially money, which is red flag number one, lack of. So I'm at an impasse of how to succeed, shall I say, how to really get what I want to happen. So yeah, that's been my little thought process this morning, is the managerial styles. Like, I know a lot of stuff. I'm very good at my job, and I need to transfer that into something that's mine, that I can potentially down the line sell. And that's the tricky bit, that's the hard bit. Like, selling personal training's not necessarily easy, but it's like, right, you're looking for people who want to get fit up, boom, that's your market. If I go, right, I want to help people develop a business, I want to help people with their life, Like, how do you approach people with that? It's like, oh, you don't look like you're succeeding in life. Maybe you need a life coach. That's definitely not the correct sales technique for that one. But it's, it's just that thought process there of the I can't is just, the I can't is starting to get a little bit bigger on me today. Like at home, I don't necessarily, well, no, I do. I get a little bit, if I have an idea and I want to work on something, I get frustrated if I can't work on it straight away. Now that's something I've got to live with, especially when you've got a 6-month-old at home. You can't just go, oh no, I'm just going to sit on my laptop for 2 hours and just work on this idea I've had. So I'm sat there, I'm coming up with ideas, so I'll jot a little note on my phone so I don't forget it. And then it could be days before I get an opportunity to properly sit down and work on something. So I might have 3 or 4 ideas to work on, but I've only got maybe a couple of hours before I need to go into dad mode. And then I'm falling behind already, and I haven't even started. So there's the I can't, like I can't fit it all in. And my options are either to wake up early and do it in the morning, or stay up late, do it in the evening, where I can potentially get some time solo. The issue with that is in the evenings I'm needed, baby, little un, not sleeping well. So if I want to stay up late, it has to be very late. Which then at the moment I'm trying to be in a good habit of waking up early to come and do this before they get up. So then that's that box ticked. So I'm prioritizing this above doing any work on a computer or laptop. One of the main reasons for that is because I get steps in, I get to do a bit of walking, and that helps with a bit more physical activity, a bit more exercise. So I'm ticking several boxes. By the time I'm home, this video's up on YouTube, the audio is up on Spotify, so I feel like I've already done something quite good. I've ticked like 3 boxes by the time I get home. So it's just where to go from here, what to do. I've got a page a day diary, big ass black diary book, massive, and I've already started like my to-do list. My to-do list is over 2 A4 pages long, and I just look at it and I'm like, that's like 3 non-stop solid days worth of work right there, minimum. And finding the time to fit that in whilst I'm coming up with these ideas and adding to the to-do list, hard, which is why I'm kind of documenting this journey, because hopefully over time I'm going to progress through that, and the conversations you're going to experience almost in real time, see them change from all these kind of questions and me going back and forth of what I want to do to me doing what I want to do, having created the solutions and actually doing everything I want to do. And hopefully you'll see that, and I would guarantee that maybe my whole persona, but the way I am on video will potentially change. It hasn't been a great morning this morning at home, so I am a little bit at the moment, and I'm still trying to pick myself up for the rest of the day. Whereas yesterday I was a bit more loud, proud, everything, because it had been an alright morning. So I get affected by a lot of things, and it's this trying to stay positive, especially if I'm trying to promote myself as someone who helps with other people's positivity, mental health and everything like that. But then the fact that I'm going through stuff and have been through stuff, and I'm currently on my own journey, does that make me more relatable? Does that help me in what I want to achieve. Questions, so many questions. Right, so let's just see how long have we been going here. Right, about 20 minutes. So we have been doing about the 20-minute mark pretty much all the time on these videos, which has been quite nice. So I'm gonna grab my stuff and start heading back, because it is a little bit later in the day today, so it's a bit warmer. But yeah, so summarize managerial approaches. I want to coach people to be better. I want to help people with their mental health. I want to help improve their lives in any way that I can. And it's just finding the best route to that path as possible. So that's where I'm currently at. The I can't is a bit big today, but the angel is there talking me through it, saying the things I need to hear. But yeah, next week is going to hopefully hold some positives towards the end financial type goals, which will be very helpful overall, and help me have a little less worry to then be able to hone in on this stuff a little bit more. I think so. Yeah, so stay positive as much as you can. Talk to someone if you need to, but just work on it. Once you have that idea, work on it. You might not be able to work on it fully straight away, but chip away at it. Make sure that you put some time in every now and then when you can, and eventually you will whittle that down to have been completed. And that's a big win. Recognize the wins as well. You know, if you are able to spend an hour on an idea, whereas normally you don't spend any, that's a win. And you've got to recognize that. So yeah, so work towards the wins. Look at completing a task, and that's what I'm going to be doing today. So I'll let you know tomorrow how I get on.